Disney has a long history of illustrating some of its characters to match the voice actors. But are those voiceover artists anything like the quirky, lovable, and sometimes outright despicable characters that they bring to life? Does, for instance, Eddie Murphy go around inviting dishonor on people's cattle every time he's chastised for being cheeky? And is Josh Gad worth melting for? Today, let's weigh up the voice artists against the iconic characters they've played to find out the answer to these questions and many, many more. First up, we've got David Spade as Emperor Cusco.
Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall.
Yep.
Sharp rocks at the bottom?
If the expression, a match made in heaven, had a face, Spade and Cusco's character voiceover pairing in The Emperor's New Groove would be it. While you're entitled to a different opinion, obviously, we think that there's something divine about how similar they are in terms of their personalities and life events.
Fonzie was like, hey! Carol Burnett was like, ee! And Macaulay Culkin was like, ah!
Believe it or not, but Spade, who rose to fame through his sardonic sketches on Saturday Night Live, has embodied the Emperor-turned-llama's me no likey attitude on multiple occasions outside of his comedic career as well. Be it his criticism of the Obamas and their appearances on live television, or his dig at Bad Baby for her Cash Me Outside fame, Spade has just as much regard for people's sentiments as Cusco, which is close to none. In fact, his devil-may-care attitude almost got him killed in the 2000s when his assistant, David Skippy Malloy, attacked him with a stun gun, supposedly for refusing to help him get a role on Joe Dirt. Now, if we think about it, there are uncanny similarities between this event and Yzma's attempts at poisoning Cusco in the film. Simply put, tactfulness isn't the two's strongest suit, and it got him into some trouble. However, if this isn't evidence of Spade being cut out for the role, we'd like to give you another bit of evidence and flash back to a scene where Cusco asked to pick a bride for himself. The way he goes through the lineup is a pretty solid representation of Spade's dating life, as well considering he's had multiple options, 20 to be exact, but has never once settled down. Maybe he's just afraid of marriage throwing him off his groove. He just got it back too, you know? And then we have Eddie Murphy as Mushu.
Hello! This is the Army! Make it sound more urgent, please! You know what I'm talking about?
Another SNL regular who went on to be a voice as a Disney character was Eddie Murphy, whose portrayal of Mushu was initially met with criticism and very quickly turned into a fan favorite. So much so that fans were a little taken aback when they found out that Disney was bringing in a Murphy impersonator for the second installment of the film. As far as the original 1998 character goes, its creator, Tom Bancroft, revealed in 2013 that he spent a lot of time watching Murphy's sketches while trying to come up with Mushu's mannerisms. To quote, Bancroft really tried to put a lot of him into the character. Now, even though Mushu might have been a good representation of Murphy back in the day, the role no longer fits him like a glove. Not at all. To elaborate, early in his career and at the height of his stardom, he was a pretty self-absorbed man, joking about things as sensitive as AIDS and homophobia, for instance. So if you're wondering how this Hase dragon fits into the whole thing, here's your reminder that Mushu was a deeply self-serving character at the beginning, and as well, doing things at people's expense without really putting much thought into the consequences. However, towards the end, he saw the error of his ways and embraced Mulan and Crikey, the cricket, as his family, which is what Murphy did as well, eventually. Briefly, of late he claims that he's become a lot mushier, and he likes to put his kids and his family at the heart of things. As a matter of fact, a significant portion of the materials that he's been recording during his time off the air includes parenting advice from his career as the father of 8 children. He's come a long way. If you consider how he made Mel B take a DNA test when she first broke the news about being pregnant with their daughter Angel, make a note of his new claims in case he slips up and you need to invoke dishonor on him, and dishonor on any cows that he may own. Up next, Robin Williams as Genie.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Although he had an impeccable resume with films like Miss Doubtfire, Dead Poet Society, and Good Will Hunting to his name, people still primarily remember Robin Williams for his side role as Genie on Aladdin. Genie, who was conceived as a result of its creator watching truckloads of Williams' content, is an excellent representation of himself as a man. In particular, it captured his avuncular, welcoming persona, which fans remember as making them feel like they were at the center of his world each time they met him. Very well.
Ooh, I like it muy much.
Nonetheless, on the downside, it also encapsulated his struggles with alcoholism and parenthood in really subtle ways. To elaborate, while Williams the Genie, when his shape-shifting and wisecracking, was loved by children of all ages and came to Aladdin's aid in every which way, in real life, Robin felt like he wasn't there for his own children, and he'd let them down. Similarly, he was, just like the Genie's repeated retreats to the lamp, addicted again to alcohol and had several relapses before he finally decided to get rehabilitated in 2003. Anyways, and despite his feud with Disney post the filming of Aladdin, he'll always be the best thing about the franchise, and nobody, not even somebody as good as Will Smith, is ever going to be able to fill his shoes. Next on our list is Auli Cravalho as Moana.
I am Moana of Motunui. This is my canoe, and you will journey to different...
Now that we've gotten the veterans out of the way, let's redirect our focus onto some of the younger voice actors. And Auli'i, the voice of Moana, who got the role at the age of 14, is as young as they come. Besides being the young new addition to Disney's list of voice actors, Cravalho also has the privilege of being Polynesian, just like her character, which is something groundbreaking, seeing that Disney has hired white voice actors to voice people of color countless times before. Besides a shared heritage, Cravalho also feels deeply connected to Moana because of the story's Maui angle. She revealed that in some of her interviews how she grew up with the trickster's deity's stories as her bedtime tales and also had to engage with them at school. In addition to all of these things, she shares a number of her mannerisms with the princess as well. For example, both Moana and Cravalho fumble with their hair when nervous and put it up when they need to get down to business. These similarities struck the young'un as quite weird when she first went through her character's profile. Anywho's, on the question of what she plans to do with the future, the actor had an answer that also aligns with her spirit with Moana's. Simply, she expressed that she'd like to do something about saving the ocean. They don't call her the real-life Moana for nothing. I mean, even her parents agree that she was born to play the princess. And now we've got Josh Gad as Olaf.
I don't know why, but I've always loved the idea of summer and sun and all things hot.
Really?
As a response to a question about which one of his characters he'd like to be remembered for, Josh Gad picked Olaf, the heartwarming snowman character who first appeared as a sidekick in Frozen, and has now become the star of several spin-off series, voiced on all of them by none other than Gad. However, despite his familiarity with the character, Gad had quite a weird response to a question about meeting Olaf in real life. To elaborate, he said that if he were to cross paths with Olaf, he'd ask him to stop following him around and to do his own thing. While it could mean several things, we think that his response has largely to do with how Gad had a very firm voice of his own growing up.
I am Olaf, and I like warm hugs. And for an extra flower.
With being the winner of several speech tournaments, Gad's admitted that he's had trouble shaking Olaf's voice off him ever since he first played him, sometimes assuming it to tell stories to kids. The meanings behind his comments aside, another thing that connects the two is summer. Briefly, Gad didn't get to see the snow until he was 15, and Olaf longs for the summer. Quite a pair they make, don't they? All in all, they were both really lovable people, and we wish to see Gad doing more with Olaf's character, even though he doesn't find his high-pitched voice worth melting for. And last but not least, Stephanie Beatriz as Mirabel.
This family. I love this family. We all love this family. You're the one that doesn't care. You're the one breaking our...
Just like in the case of Auli'i and Moana, Beatriz sees herself very distinctly as the character of Mirabel in Disney's Encanto. Beatriz, who had previously adored Rosa Diaz on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and has played a bunch of Latinx characters, has expressed in an interview that as a Latina, she's always felt like an outsider in America, in Hollywood. This, on top of her struggles with astigmatism, made Mirabel the perfect character for her to voice. For those of you who haven't had the good fortune of watching Encanto, Mirabel is a Colombian character who wears glasses, which is something that Beatriz couldn't do in her roles for television, in spite of her disability, due to the difficulty glasses present on camera. In another interview, she stated that Mirabel is also really close to her heart because, at her age, Beatriz was also really insecure as well. That is to say, she always felt like people her age had accomplished way more than she ever could, and that, why even try, when everybody was so amazing? All in all, her character managed to strike a chord with fans just as much as it did with her. We hope to see her representing more of her Latina side in the days of her career to come. And that's a wrap up for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one.